Tessa here from Meyer Hatchery. Today I'm going to be showing you some of the accessories that I use in my incubators to help make my hatches more successful. Can you use them straight out of the box? Absolutely. But are there things that you can use to make them even more efficient? Yes. So I'm going to be showing you things for two different types of incubators because I have both a styrofoam one and I have a plastic one with a self-turner. So one thing that you can use regardless of what incubator you have is one of these kind of egg cleaners. Why is this important and what does it have to do with an incubator? Well, when you get hatching eggs, maybe out of your own coop or if you order them, every so often there might be a little bit of poo or mud or something like that stuck on the egg. We don't want that to go into our incubator, but we also don't want to clean it off with water and ruin that protective bloom. So you can use one of these. It has a sandpaper edge on the outside to gently brush away any debris that's on your hatching eggs. So that will help to make sure your incubator stays clean. Now, when you're looking at your eggs, some incubators have a built-in candler, but some don't. So I have an external one that plugs in. There are some that are battery powered too, but this one plugs in and it has an attachment on the top so that I can use it for very small eggs like quail or bigger eggs like chicken and duck. These ones are more powerful than the light that you might have built in on your incubator, and they can be used more efficiently to see those first veins or to be able to tell if you can still see life right before lockdown. Now let's talk about the temperature inside the incubator. Is it pre-programmed when it comes to you with a temperature that should be right at 99.5? Yes, it is. And most of the time, is it that temperature? Yes, it is. But every so often, those need to be reconfigured. So it's always a good idea to have a second thermometer and hydrometer in your incubator so that you can tell and make sure that your humidity and your temperature are correct. So that can be something as simple as this little guy. This is just a little mercury thermometer that can sit right down in your incubator to double check and make sure the temperature is right. I like to put this in all parts of my incubator and test it in all areas because you don't know if you have a hot spot or a cold spot depending on where it is inside the incubator. So if you leave it in for about a half hour, come back and check, then you can move it to another part and see just to make sure it's right. There are definitely some more fancy versions of this though. I also have this one that's battery powered. This does both humidity and temperature. And this is a GQF brand, which is a really good one, and they make great cabinet incubators. But for those of us who haven't made the plunge into cabinet incubators yet, this is a good one to still have in your tabletop incubators. And I found it to be very, very good. I also like to keep a separate thermometer outside of my incubator so I can make sure the room that it's in is the right temperature. Have I made a mistake there? Yes, I have. Make sure that incubator is not by a window or by some place that's going to receive a lot of drafts because the heat coming in through a window or the cold breeze coming in through a door can create a hot or cold spot in your incubator that you're not even aware of. So keeping one of these nearby can make sure you have a consistent temperature near your incubator at all times. Now, when it comes to your eggs, if you have one of the large styrofoam style incubators, you're gonna have trays like this that hold your eggs. We do have several sizes of these. So these are chicken ones. We also have quail ones so that you can mix and match inside that incubator. It'll automatically turn it for you and it'll be the right size for your egg. If you have a different style of incubator, this is probably your turner inside, and this is gonna fit standard size eggs for the most part. But if you have a 3D printer or know somebody who does, they do have patterns to make some that are slightly different, if you see here. So this one is patterned so it holds bantam eggs, so you can fit more in your incubator safely. The last thing that I like to do right before lockdown is I like to take some of this shelf liner that you can find at your local grocery store, and I like to cut it to the size of my incubator and put it down when I take out the turner so that my little babies are stepping on something a little softer on their feet and there's no chance that their little toes are gonna go through the holes. In my styrofoam incubator, it's not necessary to use that because it has a really nice fine mesh. But in my tabletop plastic one, I do like to use this. And it also makes it a lot easier to clean because I can just pull this off and sanitize below rather than having to try to scrub pieces off the actual part of my incubator. The only other thing you might need is when you're filling your water, if you have one of the smaller plastic incubators, something like an old water bottle or a little watering can is the best way to get your water in without spilling it everywhere when you're increasing your humidity. And then if you have one of the styrofoam styles, using a turkey baster to kind of squirt that water in is definitely the easiest way without opening it up. So be sure to check out all of our incubators and supplies on meyerhatchery.com. And don't hesitate to ask us if it's your first time or your 100th time. We're here to help. Be sure to like and subscribe, and we'll see you later. Happy hatching!